Good morning. I'm Anna Marie De La Vega. Thank you for joining us today. This is Focus, and today we're talking with Jerrica Williams with the American Red Cross of Tennessee. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, you've got some good news, some important news to tell people about. You want to start with the reason that we're talking about preparedness?
Absolutely. So during the month of September, we highlight National Preparedness Month or National Disaster Preparedness Month.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a time where we really focus on educating communities, families, and businesses on the importance of being prepared before a disaster and knowing what to do during and after a disaster.
Are there certain months when a disaster is more likely to happen here in Tennessee?
So we are currently in the peak of hurricane season.
Mm-hmm.
So now is the time to prepare and make sure that your families, your colleagues, and your children are all prepared.
Yeah, because I do remember a point where we had refugees coming in from other states, and we had our shelters here full, and those people needed some help, and we needed to know what to do to help them.
Yes. So the American Red Cross responds to thousands of disasters throughout the year. Here in Tennessee, 90% of the workforce is volunteers. So we stand up and we're always ready to respond.
Oh, so the volunteer state really holds true.
It does.
When it comes to helping through the American Red Cross. So before we go into how to get prepared, what are the main things that we might need to be prepared for?
So the most common disaster that we respond to here in Tennessee specifically is home fires.
Oh.
But some of the larger disasters that we respond to are, of course, hurricanes. We typically get the aftermath of a lot of hurricanes, tornadoes especially.
And that's here in Tennessee?
Yes.
Let's start where you feel we need to start about getting prepared.
Absolutely. So the most important thing about being prepared before a disaster is making a plan. It's super, super important to talk to your family or those you work with about what's needed before and what you'll do in the event of a major disaster.
Yeah.
Making a plan just on how to escape, especially, as I mentioned, home fires are one of the biggest disasters that we respond to here. Do you have an escape plan? Does your family know how to get out? Do we know where all of the exits are in the work building? So those are super important conversations that need to be had before a disaster happens.
Yeah.
Also, building a kit. You know, a lot of times when there's larger disasters that happen, you may be required to evacuate. What are some of the things that you need in a go kit?
Mm-hmm.
You need medicines. You need to, of course, have water for at least 3 days, non-perishable food items. If you have pets, you want to make sure that you bring your bowls, your food, leashes. If you have babies, diapers, formula, things of that nature. And then if you are staying at home, they're asking you to shelter in place. You want to make sure that you have, again, enough medication. If you have any prescriptions that you're on, you want to make sure that you have enough of those to last you a couple of weeks. You want to make sure that you have water for a couple of weeks. You want to make sure you have battery packs and things of that nature as well.
So that sounds like it requires a lot of space, a lot of planning and a lot of space.
Yes.
So be ready for that.
Yes, which is why we encourage people to prepare before. You can prepare all year round, but September is really that month where we highlight the importance.
Yeah.
Another thing that you can always do to stay prepared is stay connected, stay informed. A lot of local government agencies have emergency alerts that they send out, so signing up for those. Also, the American Red Cross has the Red Cross Emergency app where we keep you informed about what's coming weather-wise. And during a disaster, we also keep you informed on some of these preparedness tips that I've shared here today. And also, if there are shelters open in the area, we have maps that will show you where's a great place to evacuate to in the area.
Oh, wow. Yes, because a lot of people would have no idea where to go. I'm supposed to clear out. Flooding is expected or starting. Where do I go?
Yep. And before that ever happens, you want to make sure that you're prepared. So you have your go kit already packed. It's time to evacuate. Let's grab that and let's get on down to the nearest shelter.
I know when we had some storms here a while back, I put together one, and it was the water and the food, things like that. But I didn't think of the medicines. Like if we'd had to stay out for a while, I did not think of the medicines. And that's a good tip. Yeah. I'm sure that the American Red Cross will have lots of good tips for you on the emergency app, but also on the website.
Yes, and we can be found at redcross.org.
Redcross.org. Okay. What else do we need to know, Miss Jerrica?
Yeah. So also, as we get ready to respond to disasters, as I mentioned before, 90% of our workforce is volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
So 90% of the people that you see in those red vests don't get paid to do what they do at the American Red Cross. And we always have a need for volunteers. Right now, we have a critical need for shelter volunteers, and these are the volunteers who step up to go respond to larger disasters like those hurricanes and tornadoes, and they stay in the shelter with those who have been affected by disasters and provide comfort, food, shelter, of course, and really just take the time to boost the morale. So that could be playing games with the children, watching movies, things of that nature. We also do spiritual care in the shelters as well. So a lot of prayer, mental health. After a disaster, it can be hard on families.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
So those shelter volunteers are those who step up to respond and take care of their communities.
So do you need mental health experts as well? Is that what you're saying?
We do. So there's a ton of different positions that you can work in as it relates to a volunteer. But those nurses and mental health professionals, we also have a great need for those as well in shelters. Mm-hmm.
Somebody listening right now might think, well, I don't know if I could afford to do that. So if they started with one disaster, one emergency,
Mm-hmm.
and went to help, is there a certain amount of time that they're obligated to keep helping?
So depending on the scope of the disaster, a lot of times if you are what we call deploying, right? So if you're deploying out to a disaster that's somewhere maybe in another state, you might be required to stay at minimum 2 weeks.
Yeah.
However, the need for local volunteers is so critical because we want people to be able to respond in their own communities, but to also be able to take care of their home as well.
That makes sense, because if it's here that it happened, we've probably got our own issues. We just may not have to be at the shelter.
Right.
When you talk about a shelter from a disaster, what is a shelter?
So a shelter is typically a place where people can come for some sort of relief. When there's larger disasters that happen, you don't know what you're going to go back home to if you have to evacuate.
Yeah.
So it's really a place where you can come and get comfort, food, power, of course, take a hot shower, have a hot meal, and just have some sense of peace of mind as we're experiencing this disaster. They have sleeping areas, of course. There's showers. Again, if there's a larger disaster where it might require people to stay a little longer, they'll bring in laundry facilities and things like that to make sure that people are taken care of.
Because you can't kind of regroup and get your documents together and contact insurance companies and all of that if you're kind of in the rubble.
Right.
You need to have a place to just be still and start to kind of get together and recover yourself.
Right. That is absolutely true. We also, another thing a lot of people don't know about the shelters is, let's say, a disaster comes through and your home is not majorly destroyed. Maybe you just lost power and you feel more comfortable staying at your house, but you need food. You need to take a shower.
Yeah.
You can stop by the shelter and leave. You don't have to stay overnight.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing to know. Just go get cleaned up, get some grub.
Get some
Don't
supplies.
have to sit there and suffer at your house. I don't think a lot of people know that.
Yep.
And what about elderly people? What about transportation? Is that where we volunteers would come in?
So the volunteers I've seen on larger scale disasters. I've responded to quite a few disasters in my 3.5 years being with the Red Cross. There's always a lot of times people will say the Red Cross was the first person I've seen when the lights came on or when the sun came out. A lot of times we'll have volunteers who take it upon themselves to go out to different neighborhoods and find out, are there people still in their homes? Let's figure out what partner agency we can connect with to make sure that they can make it to the shelter.
Now, that's one of the keys, the partner agency. Like, we might not be able to do something about this specific thing, but there's a partner agency who might help you recover this or get this back on track.
That is true. The American Red Cross partners with a ton of different organizations locally. So we've always got to phone a friend.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so what kind of agencies, what kind of help is available? If people are like, well, I don't need blood and I don't need a shower, what other things might the American Red Cross be able to steer people to, or the volunteers to steer people to get help?
A lot of times during disasters, we'll partner with agencies who might be able to provide things like clothing. We don't typically take clothing donations at shelters, at Red Cross shelters, and we don't typically take food donations.
Yeah.
Right? We provide all hot meals for people who might come and stay in the shelter or who might stop by the shelter. But we partner with agencies who might be able to provide those things like clothing, shoes, food.
Clothing, shoes, and food. Now, do you have the specific same organizations that you work with, or?
Typically, it depends on the scope of the disaster. It really does depend on, how long we're responding or who we are connected with at the time.
And what's needed. Okay. You said we need volunteers for shelters.
Yes.
How do we make that happen?
Yes. So right now, the best thing to do would be to get in contact with your local Red Cross. We do offer free trainings. We have a few shelter-in-a-day trainings coming up, but I would visit redcross.org/shelterheroestn to find out more information about which trainings are coming up and when they're coming up.
Shelter Heroes. That's what they're called. Shelter Heroes.
Shelter Heroes. Those are the people who are standing up and being heroes in their communities.
And I think you don't need special qualifications or special certifications, do you? You just need to have a caring heart and the ability to get out there and show up.
That is correct. During those shelter-in-a-day trainings, they teach you everything you need to know about responding during storm season. It is about a 4 to 5 hour course. It is hands-on training, so you will learn things like how to set up, the beds in the shelter.
Oh, good.
How to check people in, check people out, make sure, what do you do if media shows up and your communications team isn't there? So those are all things that you learn in this training.
Jerrica, what do we do?
What do we do?
Do I say, I don't know, call Jerrica?
Yeah. That's what I would prefer you to do.
Please call me. Don't be saying some stuff.
That would be ideal.
We've got free food and everything for everybody. Yeah, I can understand that because you don't want somebody representing the Red Cross who is not really a representative of the Red Cross itself.
Again, which is why these trainings are super, super important. So.
Okay, and they're free, you said.
They are.
What else can we do to help the Red Cross do what it does?
So, as I mentioned, there's always a need for volunteers, and there's something for everybody. I tell people that right now there's a critical need for shelter volunteers, but there is something for everyone to do. If you like to drive, we have our emergency response vehicles that take supplies out during disasters.
Oh.
You can sign up to drive.
My husband would like that.
Yeah, and it's something that, a team of two can do. We have a lot of married couples who volunteer together and they drive the herbs. So that's something that people can do. And outside of volunteering, it's always important to take a class. In the event of an emergency, someone might get hurt. So learning CPR, first aid, how to use an AED are all super important things to help you be prepared.
And the AED is the defibrillator?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And then also donating blood. If you are in an unaffected area, we encourage people to donate blood because the need for blood is constant. It doesn't stop with just because a disaster came through.
Yeah.
So we always encourage people to donate blood. The American Red Cross is responsible for 40% of the nation's blood supply.
Oh, wow.
40%.
Where does the rest of it come from? Just smaller organizations?
It does.
Holy cow.
We are the largest single organization that collects blood.
Mm-hmm. And so how often can we give blood?
You can donate blood every 56 days.
Okay.
So we have people who are regular donors that go ahead and, donate blood, and they make their next appointment that same day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's super, super important to donate blood, especially if you're in unaffected areas or areas that are not as disaster prone.
Yes. There's a lady at the blood donation center where my husband and I go, and she will strong arm me. She's like, well, girl, when are you going to make your next appointment? Let's go ahead and do it right now. And I'm like, well, okay. Because I need to, and I want to. But she's just got a fun demeanor about her. But I love that she's passionate about, well, we need to keep this up.
Yes.
We got you started. Let's keep this up. And I think some people need that encouragement and that motivation. Like, okay.
They do. Because once you get into just knowing the facts about donating blood, I think it's really, really inspiring to know. A lot of people don't know that every 2 seconds someone in the country needs blood. So the need is constant.
Every what now?
Every 2 seconds someone in the country needs blood.
Wow.
Whether that's a blood transfusion for a car accident victim, a mother experiencing a difficult childbirth, sickle cell patients. So the need is constant.
Mm-hmm. What about sickle cell patients? I'm going to have an interview with somebody from the organization later on this year. Apparently that requires a lot of blood transfusions.
It does. It does. Sickle cell anemia patients need blood often.
Because theirs doesn't have the iron to carry the oxygen, to get everything oxygenated and keep it healthy like it's supposed to be, is what I understood. And we're going to talk more to them later on. But yes, there are certain people who, like, it's like no fault of their own. They're not out drunk driving. They have something that they were born with and they're trying their best to deal with.
Yes.
Or their kids were born with and they're trying their best to deal with.
Yes.
And so we can help.
We can, and we encourage anybody who is healthy and willing to donate blood for those people, just to make sure that we keep a constant blood supply on the shelves in the hospitals.
So we want to donate blood about every 2 months, as often as we can, and help make sure that that supply stays where it needs to be.
Yes.
Okay. What else can we do to help the American Red Cross?
I think, again, just making sure that you protect yourselves and your loved ones. Staying connected is super, super important during disaster season. So as I mentioned before, just download that Red Cross emergency app so that you can stay up to date on what's happening near you. And then volunteering, taking the classes to learn life-saving skills.
So let's talk about some things that we can do to keep ourselves and those we love safe during the extreme hot weather like we've had lately. It's just been unbearably hot.
It has, and it can be dangerous for anyone. But, there are certain people who are at a higher risk for getting sick. So you want to definitely make sure that you're checking on yourself, staying hydrated. The American Red Cross encourages people to drink a cup of water every 20 minutes, even if you're not thirsty.
Oh, that's good.
To stay hydrated.
I'm going to tell my husband that.
Yeah.
Because he seems to think he's superhuman.
Yes, and then also avoiding like caffeine drinks or sugary drinks as well is very, very important.
Oh.
And then staying cool, of course, making sure that if you're in the house, you have a fan, keep it running. Keep that AC on. Make sure that you're taking cool showers if you need to, or just keeping a wet cloth near you to pat yourself down so that you don't get overheated.
Yeah.
And then, of course, one of the biggest tips from the American Red Cross in all situations is stay connected. So make sure that you know if a heat wave is coming.
True. And the signs and symptoms, doesn't the American Red Cross have information about how to know if somebody is in trouble?
Yep. So that emergency app is going to help you with everything you need to know. There's tips and signs of maybe heat exhaustion. These are all things that we keep people updated on. And so more information on how to stay hydrated, how to stay cool, and how to just keep yourself safe during this heat wave can be found at redcross.org/heatcheck.
Heat check. Some of the things to look out for. Specific symptoms. Let's talk about some of the specific symptoms to know if someone's in trouble and has gotten overheated or might be about to get overheated.
Absolutely. So, of course, some of the things to look out for, those signs and symptoms are going to be very little to no sweating, unresponsiveness, of course, moist or pale or flushed skin, weakness, and a lot of people who are experiencing either heat stroke or heat exhaustion might appear super, super tired.
Oh my gosh. Yes. That happens to my husband. The weird thing is he doesn't sweat hardly at all, but he gets really flushed or really pale when he gets hot. And I'm like, time to like cool you down. And on the app, I feel like I read that it recommends like you get people cool. You can get them under blowing air, get cold water on their compress or, cloth or something on their face, and cold moving air if you can.
Yep. Or encouraging people to just take a cool, like you said, a cool towel and pat their face down, or hopping into a cool shower. But ultimately drinking enough water. You may have thought that you drank enough water for the day, but the heat this summer has been outrageous.
Even if you're not sweating it out, your body just needs that liquid so it can regulate your body temperature.
It does. It does. And even if you're not thirsty, it's super important to have a sip of water. And make sure that you're checking on those in your community as well. So making sure that if you mentioned if someone is outside mowing the lawn or you see somebody sitting outside, take them a bottle of water. Talk to them, help them stay hydrated, remind them to drink water.
Yeah.
And to go easy on the sugar and the caffeine, especially.
So what does the sugar do?
So
it just doesn't help hydrate you, or
doesn't hydrate you? Nothing can hydrate you as much as water.
Yeah.
So
that's one of the things that when my husband goes out to mow the lawn, I keep checking on him. But now I get to tell him the American Red Cross says a cup of water every 20 minutes.
Every 20 minutes.
Whoa, that's good.
Also making sure that if they want to be outside, because obviously, people want to get outside and enjoy the weather. There are a lot of people who like the hot weather, the summer babies. Yeah. But sitting in the shade is super important, making sure that they're wearing lightweight or loose-fitting clothes as well. So that's another tip to share with them as well.
Okay, and so just basically keep checking on them.
Check on your community. Make sure that you're paying attention. If you have kids that like to play outside, make sure that they're coming in to cool down. You don't want them outside for long periods of time without checking on them and making sure. And also pets as well. You definitely do not want to leave your pet outside for a long extended period of time without checking on them, making sure that they're cool as well.
Have a good place to get in the shade and water.
Exactly. And another thing that people need to be checking on is if the concrete is hot enough to fry an egg, it is too hot for your pet's paws.
Yeah. I saw a friend the other day, and I do this. I saw her because we were on a walk, and she reached down and touched the concrete, touched the street to see if it was going to be okay for her dog's paws. And that's what I do. It's like, if it's too hot for my hand, I'm not going to make the little dog walk on that hot stuff.
Yep.
And not all dogs will wear what do they call little dog shoes to protect from the heat?
Little socks, yeah.
Mine will not do that. She would bite my head off if I tried to get a little something on her feet. Yeah. But you can at least check and make sure.
Make sure that they have shade and water at all times.
And I know there are people listening who are like, I'm fine. I drink water. I'm going to go out and do my yard work. I've got to go do the flowers. I mean, I do the same thing. But let somebody know you're doing that.
Let somebody know that you're doing that and plan ahead. Also, if you can do your yard work or your gardening, when it's cooler before the sun comes all the way up, maybe that's a better time to do it to make sure that you're staying safe.
And I notice a lot of people in our neighborhood will go out there about a little before the sun goes down. You have another like 30, 40 minutes that you can get some stuff done, and it's dropped below dangerous temperatures.
Yep, absolutely. And sunscreen is another super important thing to make sure that you have at all times.
Yes. I'm embarrassed I'm not going to show you because I have a farmer tan because I don't use sunscreen well on my arms, and it's like I forget it. I put it on my face, don't put it on my arms, and then I have that farmer tan. And I know that's bad because that's where people can get skin cancers.
Yeah, that is true.
From the sun. And top of ears.
Before I started working for the American Red Cross, I did not wear sunscreen. I'm like, I don't need it. I don't spend that much time in the sun, but even a little bit of time in the sun can be drastic. So they have sunscreen for all skin types. Some is waterproof. You can use all kinds of sunscreen.
Yeah. So. Yes. And it doesn't matter if you're a person of color. You still need sunscreen.
We all need sunscreen.
And it looks like you've been using your sunscreen because your face is just flawless.
Moisturized.
Not a wrinkle in sight.
Thank you for that.
Okay, we have just a few more minutes. Is there anything else that you feel is important to add, either about emergency preparedness? Is there a disaster preparedness kit checklist or things like that we can get, tools that we can get to help us know, well, I didn't even think about doing this. Do you guys have tools that we can use like that?
So what I would say, just going back to those Go kits and those shelter-in-place kits, again, just another reminder for the things that you might need to keep in them. Make sure that your medication is up to date and you have enough to last you for a few weeks. Bottled water is going to always be important. You want to make sure that you protect any important documents as well. A lot of us have things like childhood pictures and things that you might want to keep safe. So maybe a waterproof safe. I just invested in one of those recently. I have pictures from my childhood. I have jewelry that I would never want to lose.
Yeah.
So I make sure I have a waterproof safe and fireproof safe as well. Those are all some of the things. If you have glasses that you wear, whether they're reading glasses or glasses that you wear every day, you want to make sure you have those packed and a backup. And another thing that I always encourage people to do is if you are evacuating and going to a shelter, bring a little piece of home with you. Bring a blanket, your favorite blanket or your favorite book, something that's going to help you feel like you're at home.
Mm-hmm.
So those are all super, super important.
Well, you just gave me another thought there. If you're going to a shelter and you have the option of having some things to take with you, there's like you got to evacuate the house. What could we take to make it better? Not just like a favorite blanket, but should we bring our pillows? Should we bring things like that we have, folding chairs? Absolutely. If we have the option to do that.
Yes, you absolutely do. If you have the capacity to bring all of that with you, I would. Anything to make you feel like you have that piece of home.
Yeah.
We've seen people bring like their favorite hobbies. I've seen teenagers making bracelets. That's something that they do. They make bracelets for people in the shelter, other people in the shelters.
Oh, wow.
We've had people who have celebrated birthdays in shelters. Yes. I remember responding to, this was Hurricane Ian a few years ago. And we had a young lady who was celebrating her 16th birthday in the shelter. She didn't want to do anything. She didn't want anybody to know it was her birthday because obviously they had just lost everything. They hadn't brought much to the shelter with them.
Yeah.
The shelter workers there purchased a birthday cake for her. The whole shelter sang happy birthday for her, and that made her day. She told us that was one of the best birthdays she has ever had and one of the nicest things anybody has ever done for her.
Because she felt that true compassion. It was not like, oh, my friends are here because they got to be and they want to whatever. But it was people who really cared.
Who really cared.
At a low moment.
Absolutely.
Do you have any other stories you can tell us real quick about people going through things in shelters and maybe being able to take away a positive mental image or a positive story from that? Because we're just about out of time, but I would love to leave our listeners with something on a positive note, Jerrica.
So you never know who you'll meet in a shelter. And as someone who works in communications, a lot of times my job during a disaster is, of course, to provide the public with information on where they can get help or let the community know about how we're responding.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things to do is spend that time in the shelters with volunteers after my job is done, because just helping them do their jobs brings me so much joy and it's very inspirational. There was a time where I responded, this might have been Ian or it might have been Adalia. I've got my disasters mixed up here.
I bet. Yeah.
We had a gentleman who was staying in the shelter because he had lost his home. And instead of him, just staying down and staying in the shelter, just kind of passing time, he was assisting the Red Cross volunteers with handing out supplies. So imagine just losing everything, and you need those supplies yourself. But to stand up and just assist them with their job when you don't even have to.
Mm-hmm. It helped him have purpose.
It did. So just seeing things like that, again, you'll never know who you'll meet when you are in a Red Cross shelter.
And hopefully we can be the ones who are helping, and hopefully we won't be the ones who need the help, but just in case, the Red Cross is there.
We are. So for more information on how to become a Red Cross volunteer, you're going to visit redcross.org/shelterheroestn. You can follow us on social media as well. We are on Facebook, LinkedIn, as American Red Cross of Tennessee, and then Instagram and X, we are Red Cross TN.
Okay, thank you. Jerrica Williams with the American Red Cross of Tennessee. We'll put some more links up on the Focus Facebook page. Please make sure you join us again next week. I'm Anna Marie. That's Focus.